Greetings, internetizens. This is Elmerthien playing Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. In the last episode, we got 4 witnesses at once. Now, there's Wordsmith, a weird old man who might be senile. There's Mary, the milkwoman who has a goat and took the milk bucket. There's Kira, currently my main suspect unless another young woman shows up. Anyway, Kira is very angry and she might have lost her glasses. Oh, and there's Knight, the wannabe knight with his floppy sword. That's not a euphemism for anything. His sword is floppy. Oh, and there's stuff with gems for fire and invisibility. Well, so much for a fun evening at home. The knights came and crashed our party. They were shouting all about a witch and a witch trial. Talk about coming out of a left field. Oh yeah, Phoenix has remembered. They arrested a spell and dragged her to the courthouse under suspicion of being one of those witches they mentioned. And if she's found guilty, oh, do you know, they'll only throw her into a pit of fire. They're joking, right? Of course, the lantern fell to the ground after the incantation of Ignace. Sploosh. Heard her voice and it's sploosh. Shouldn't you have heard the sound of the glass shattering when it hit the ground? At the sound of glass shattering? No, I'm afraid I failed to catch your drift. Oh yeah, and then I moved to her.
Hold it!
There it is. Yeah, the witnesses might influence each other, but they can also react to each other. Yeah, the touch screen. Wait, go back. Oh yeah, still. Excuse me, Miss Mary. Oh, do you mean us? But Snowy and I have nothing else left to say. I knew it. I caught her completely by surprise. Mr. Wordsmith just gave his testimony. He told us all about the sound he heard when the lantern fell to the ground. Mr. Wordsmith didn't seem too sure, but I wonder if you might have happened to have something to say about this. Well, that's... Is that all right, Sir Barnum? May we answer the question? Do what you will, madame. There is no need for formalities. You're in court. Formal is the default. Huh? Then again, it's the Phoenix Wright series. A lot, a lot of chaos happens in court, even in Japanifornia. Well, we'll try and explain, won't we, Snowy? The truth is we did hear something. That is to say, we heard the sound of the lantern's glass shattering. We're sure of it. It was frighteningly loud. It quite startled us, didn't it, Snowy dear? I looked in the direction of the sound, but I couldn't see anything, let alone the girl or those two thieves. It wasn't dark after all. When the glass shattered, the flame inside must have gone out, hence she could not see them. That seems to be the gist of it. And then, as I peered into the darkness, I heard it. You heard it? What did you hear exactly? You know, that. I heard the incantation for the spell Ignace. It was already dark, and she heard the incantation. No mention of somatic components. Maybe this spell doesn't have any somatic components. Maybe they just don't have somatic components in this magic system. Oh, what did you just say? Now hold it right there, witness. Yes, my lord. The glass shattered when the lantern fell. Then, after that, you heard the incantation for the spell Ignace. Do you swear to this court that this is without a doubt correct? Are you threatening her? Yes, maybe, I think. See, being questioned just makes a person unsure. How about my testimony? What of my oratorial observation? That blasted spell Ignace occurred first, then the lantern plummeted to the ground. I heard no such thing. There was no sound of shattering glass. Absurd! Simply absurd! So the lantern fell and the glass shattered? That does not change the very fact that this girl is a witch.
Objection.
I hate to disappoint you, but that's not quite the case. In fact, this testimony changes things a lot. Wouldn't you agree, Inquisitor Barnham? What is the meaning of this? Let's go over what we know so far. In order for a witch to use any magic, they must be holding a witch's scepter. The lantern fell, and then someone grabbed the scepter. And yet none of the four witnesses saw the defendant holding a scepter of any kind. Because it was dark, aren't we screwing ourselves over? That's because the scepter was made to disappear with the spell Dimir, correct? At the time of the crime, the two victims grabbed Miss Cantabella's arm, causing her to drop the lantern onto the ground. If at any time she was in fact holding an invisible scepter, then the scepter must have fallen when she dropped the lantern. Now let's say, hypothetically, that Miss Cantabella really is a witch. In order to use any magic, she would have had to recite the spell before dropping the scepter. However, as our witness, Miss Mary, has just stated in her testimony, she heard the incantation for Ignace after hearing the lantern's glass shatter. But where would she be hiding the stuff? in her clothes. Ah! Well? Oh. You do all understand what that means, don't you? It means that Miss Cantabella, the supposed witch you roped up, could not possibly have cast any magic. Therefore, the defendant Espera Cantabella is clearly in no way, shape or form a witch. Ah. Such frivolity! Do you realize what you're insinuating? Do you really think she's not a witch? Such nonsense. Did any of you ever listen to my testimony? We did, but you're wrong. There was no glass shattering. Are you calling me a liar, missy? You couldn't even see the mud on the lantern when it was plain as day. What ridiculous claims, all of you! Oh, hush! Take your little toy sword and go back to playing pretend, Sir Knight. Witnesses, this is a court of law, not a playground. Must I remind you of the importance of these proceedings? Witches and their magic threaten our fair town of Labyrinthia. Your words here today could decide the fate of every single citizen within our walls. Do you understand? As such, I expect each of you to take your role seriously and testify honestly about what you saw. In all my days as judge of this court, I have never seen such behavior. Behavior that leaves a cloud of doubt over the credibility of each of your testimonies. You just got a superhero lawyer. Indeed, my lord, quite a miserable set of witnesses, this lot. I see. It would appear this trial has come to a sudden halt. So that must mean... Quite right. It means you have won this trial, Mr. Wright. We've won? He dropped the lantern. Oh yeah, she didn't have the... Probably was too distracted and too preoccupied with the robbers to grab anything. I can hardly believe the situation we have found ourselves in. I did not anticipate this trial ending with such a strange turn of events. But due to these witnesses' dubious credibility, I can see no reason to continue. What say you, Inquisitor Barnum? As you wish, my lord. What is going on? They're actually going to let this witch run free through the town? Curses! If it wasn't for that witch and her friends... I went burning them. Well, who is this? Nightle?
Wait a blooming second. This trial ain't even close to being over. Not before I take the stand to testify. Order! Order! Who is this buffoon? Behold! Who am I, you ask? Who am I? Why?
Is his name some guy? Why does he remind me of a steak?
I'm the man that's gonna single-handedly save this trial. I'm the fifth witness.
Oh, You're drunk. Lay off the beer. If that's beer and not something stronger like rum.
Say what? Huh? What? Even Barnum didn't see this one coming.
Well, he followed your order and said what? Just as I thought, this trial was gone down the drain before I got here. Oh, it's burning. That's not beer. Okay, lot, assemble. We need a strategy meeting or something. ASAP, whatever. I say, who are you? Thank goodness you showed up. We can't give up now, everyone. It has come down to this. To arms, everyone. We shall do battle against that baker and that head seller. Head seller? I can't believe this. What the heck is going on? Truly fascinating. It seems a new witness has taken the stand. And this time, it's not a friendly loser like Larry Butts. What's more, he appears to be quite a formidable witness. Well, I guess this trial is still far from over. Are we going back to point and click adventure mode? Can we get those puzzles we missed? Just a break mid-trial for the save. Well, then we will now continue with the trial of Espella Cantabella. Oh boy! A group of witnesses huddling up before a joint testimony in a witch trial. You can't make this stuff up. Inquisitor Barnum, if I may ask you a question. Yes, my lord. We now have 5 witnesses on the stand, so I must ask, what, are you eliminating one? Why was this obnoxious-looking man left out of your initial group of witnesses? Oh, wait, now that I think of it, maybe the flame was just a splash. Oh, that's right, Barnum, that's just cold-blooded. There is but one reason, my lord. I did not know this witness even existed. Huh? You, sir, failed to come forward. When we were asking for witnesses for this very trial, you were nowhere to be seen. It's beer with foam. That's 'cause I didn't hear a peep about it. I ain't usually around at night, except for maybe at Rogue's Tavern. So, you're basically telling us that you were up all night drinking. Anyway, it's all water under the bridge now, as far as I'm concerned. Just leave the rest to yours truly. It's very pink. I read somewhere that Japanese people are likely to turn pink, I mean to blush like that when they're drunk, but maybe it also happens to Europeans sometimes. I haven't seen a lot of drunk people. During the last interrogation, the defender brought forth some surprising proof. Namely, that there was little possibility the accused could have used magic. I have never heard such a claim. It must be the doing of this logic. What rubbish! What you say? I ain't got a clue what that is. But I do know that this bread baking baker ought to head back to the bakery. He eloquently said. Gramps gave me and my partners over here a chance to speak. You wanna know how this witch managed to be holding that scepter, don't you? Oh, when you say Gramps, you wouldn't mean me, would you? I fail to see anyone else meeting such a description. Well, we'll show you she's a witch. Clutches flower threateningly. Is that a weapon or a hostage? Probably a hostage, considering how she's been dismantling those other flowers. I'll bet Snow's beautiful white coat on it. And guard! Not now! Leave Matt and guard out of this! Alright, team, let's do this. Witnesses! Oh! Yes, well, let us proceed with the testimonies. Why do I feel like I've totally lost control of this situation? It's clear as day. Espella is a witch. We are not backing down on this. When she dropped the lantern, the scepter was not yet in her hands. The scepter must have been hidden by magic and carried on her back. Oh, I was imagining the front of her clothes for some reason. Yeah, her back makes more sense. She was wearing a hood. This kinda reminds me of Persona 4 and you hiding a katana in his school bag. Knights! The rogues grabbed her by the hand that held the lantern, so she must have had another way of holding that scepter. Is that a skeleton painted on his shield? That's easy. A girl just put the bucket down on the ground and picked up the witch's magic stick. So she had the witch's scepter behind her back. She then dropped the lantern and reached for the scepter after it fell. If that is the case, then it must have been possible for the accused to have used magic. This is bad. Thanks to this guy, now all the witnesses seem extra determined to pin this thing on Espella. They each harbor a shared anger towards witches and magic. Such is the cause of their strong desire to see a guilty verdict passed as quickly as possible. However, such confidence is undoubtedly bound to cloud their better judgment and thinking. Oh, and I suppose they don't count their weird anime physics as magic. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think these guys mean any real harm, but they're all riled up. They don't even realize how distorted their idea of what happened tonight has become. At least, that's how it seems. This isn't good, Professor. The witnesses aren't thinking straight. They're completely blind to the truth. Sir Baker, rather, Sir Wright. Yes, you do not appear to be a mere simple baker. That much is clear. On the other hand, you are no ordinary defender either. I'm an isekai protagonist. Well, one of them. Never before. Has a defender managed to clash and do battle with me here on the battlefield, on this battlefield, as an equal? Sir Blue Knight, this trial has not yet been decided. If there is any doubt in your interrogation, I will not hesitate to strike your case down where it stands. I understand. Defender, please begin your interrogation. Focusing on Kira here. It's clear as day, a spell is age. Not backing down, you say? Aha, that's right. Spell is a witch. That's our story and we're sticking to it. This is a courtroom, Miss Kira. We're not interested in your story. We're interested in the truth. You know what I think? I think stories have the power to touch our lives in really meaningful ways. Don't commit accidental heresy, Phoenix. What do you mean? Last year I read a book about a flower girl who brought peace to the world with all the pretty flowers she sold. I mean, maybe intentional heresy will be in place sometime, but yeah, it should be planned. Because of that story, now I tell myself, Kira, one day you'll fill the world with beautiful flowers of your own. That story inspires me to sell more flowers. It's pretty much the same as this trial. What a very touching story. Indeed, I have heard nary a truer tale. Wouldn't you agree, Sir Blue Knight? Oh, he said his experience with flower girls. Maybe it's just me, but I'd have preferred something a little more relevant. I'm afraid our logic may do us no good here. Let's move on to the next witness, shall we? No matter how many times we ask, you still say you didn't see the scepter, huh, Gramps? I ask you, youngling, were you paying attention to this trial? Yes. Well then, magic made the scepter invisible, did it not? Thus, my old age clouding up my vision has nothing to do with anything. The scepter actually vanished. No, what I'm saying is, if it really was invisible, you wouldn't be able to actually prove it. Not so, young one. We can prove it. The girl is a witch. There is your proof. So my old age clouding up my memories has nothing to do with anything. But her being a witch is the thing we're trying to prove. The scepter magically vanished, you see? Okay, we get it. When the lantern fell, you claimed the scepter was still not in her hand yet. So that means... The witch's scepter was behind her back? Well, it's like my little snowflake here. Whenever my darling gets too heavy, I hoist him up and carry him on my back. You mean your baby goat, right? Who else? Yes, there isn't a cuter little goat in this entire courtroom, right, precious? I know it's been asked already. But you didn't see the witch's scepter, did you? Well, no, but it must have been made invisible by magic and then put on her back. You know, Snow is still such a tiny little thing. If I put him on my back, you can hardly see him. I hardly see the point of that comment. It invisifies everything in touch with the caster. So her clothes and she would probably be invisible as well. So the accused grabbed the witch's scepter after the lantern fell. The rogues grabbed her by the hand that held the lantern, so she must have had another way of holding that scepter. Wait, nope.
Hold it!
Are you alright? What? Why? Why? Well, for one thing, you're hiding behind what I assume is a shield. A shield made of a bunch of planks. Well played, Blue Knight. You managed to see through my steel guard technique. What steel? Your steel what technique? You tried to penetrate the depths of my mind and deceive me with your witchcraft of words. But you will find your words are futile against the strength of my shield, crafted from wood harder than steel. Oh, trying to block insight checks by hiding your face. Now then, have at you. Attack me if you dare. No, just listen a second. Looking at this sketch, it's quite clear the accused could not have held the scepter in the same hand carrying the lantern. Witness, explain to the court just how the accused held the scepter.
Hold it!
She put the milk bucket down. That's right. Reckon if she did that, she'd had no problem holding that thing.
Objection!
But none of the other witnesses have said anything about seeing her put the bucket down on the ground. But no one said a thing about not seeing her put the bucket down either, right? Ho, Kira.
Hang on!
Excuse me, Miss Kira. Yes. What is it? Tell me, what do you think of this witness's testimony just now? The accused placed the bucket on the ground. No one has said anything about this until now. Why, you're right. How odd. Everyone must have simply forgotten, myself included. But yeah, Espera definitely did put that milk bucket down. That way, she was able to easily grab her scepter and use magic. Easy peasy, right? The nerve, Nick! It looks like she's trying to peg Espera as a witch every chance she gets. Really? I don't know how much more of this testimony I can stand. Oh. It's clear as day. Espera is a witch, yeah. Wait.
Hold it!
What was that about bringing peace to the world? Just how deadly are your flowers? Excuse me, Mr. Knightle. Tell me, what do you think about this witness's testimony just now? He claims the accused placed the bucket on the ground. No one has said anything about this until now. I am reminded of but one thing, sir. A battle tactic important to any knight. Imagine, in one hand you hold your sword, and in the other your shield. When suddenly, from the shadows, an itch of epic proportions takes to your back. What doth one do? Indeed, what can one do? Well, let me tell you. One must drop one's sword and fell that unholy itch with a well-timed scratch to one's back. Or just carefully put the sword hand behind their back, rub the back of the fist against your... Oh right, he's wearing armor. But if you were not wearing armor in just regular clothes, and you rub it with the... Just rub it with the back of your hand and the clothes will scratch you. Right. A crafty witch would surely use the same tactic, would she not? I call it my signature back scratch attack of great justice. Right. By the way, be wary when using the tactic in battle. I find my opponents rarely give me ample time to remove my armor and scratch. Armor gets in the way of scratching with the shirt. Thank you for that, Mr. Knightle. No further questions. Mr. Knightle sure takes the whole knight thing super seriously, huh? Sheesh. I guess it's back to the drawing board. What do I do now? Do I present something? Do I get an opening on other people here?
Objection!
Oh, yeah. I mean, Kira is suspicious.
Hang on!
Excuse me, Mr. Wordsmith. What is it, oh boisterous blue one? Tell me, what do you make of this witness's testimony just now? He has stated that the defendant put... Let me tell you something, young man. Long have I lived and prospered. Now you're a Vulcan and Yoda. In that time I have forgotten much. Dreams, aspirations, even love. I simply forgot about that milk bucket, like one would forget about a single drop of water within the bucket that is life. Thank you for that, Mr. Wordsmith. No further questions. I still don't understand a single word that comes out of his mouth, Nick. Maybe the bucket owner will have something.
Hold it! Objection!
Even if the exclamation mark comes from this side.
Hang on!
Excuse me, Miss Mary. You mean Snowy and me? tell me, what do you think of the witness's testimony?
That must be how it happened. The girl probably placed the milk bucket on the ground, yes.
Miss Mary, you did not mention anything to that effect in your previous testimony.
And you took the bucket in the dark,
Or afterwards. And yet you clearly stated that one thing you were specifically focused on, more than anything else, was the milk bucket. Here you go. You should be able to confirm to the court whether or not the bucket really was placed on the ground. One's memory is not flawless, Sir Blue Knight. Pay attention to what the witness was saying. The accused probably placed the milk bucket on the ground. There is the possibility such was the case.
Yes, that's right. Isn't it, my little cuddle pumpkin?
I knew it. There is something fishy about her testimony, but indeed, it would seem we require a decisive piece of evidence if we are to expose the contradictions in these witnesses' testimonies. Yeah, I just have to think of what that could be.
Yeah.
What do I have?
Where isn't the bucket?
It was dark. What do I do? Present this guy with the bucket? 'Cause Mary isn't sure if she put the bucket down. I'm afraid what really happened is not quite so simple.
What? What you talking about?
It had only just stopped raining moments before the crime took place. As a result, the ground was very muddy. If Miss Cantabella really placed this bucket on the ground like you claimed she did, oh yeah, then it should be caked with mud just like the lantern was after it fell. Well, I'd say that clears up your muddy testimony, wouldn't you?
Burn him!
What? Are you sure you didn't want to say barman?
I'm just gonna sit there looking pretty. Come on, give me a hand here.
Flattery will get you nowhere, witness, other than perhaps to the dungeon. At any rate, there is but one question we ought to ask. Why is there no mud on the bucket? To the witness with the goat, may I ask you a question?
Are you talking to us?
Indeed, you admitted to the court that you returned home with the milk bucket. Illegally, I must add.
Oh my! Such harsh words, Inquisitor.
When you took the bucket home, you must have simply wiped the mud from the bucket. Is that correct?
You know, now that you mention it.
No way. Don't tell me.
That milk bucket? That's right. I remember now. I don't know if what was on the bucket was mud exactly, but it certainly was dirty.
Do you have a poor sense of smell or something?
And before taking it inside with me, I remember wiping it clean with an old rag.
Are you kidding me?
Exceptional work, Inquisitor Barnum. Right. It all makes perfect sense. See? We were right all along. Weren't we, Inquisitor Barnum?
Oh no, that sword went just for show, Barnum. Slice this argument in two.
Objection!
Witness, Miss Mary.
What is it?
You're absolutely sure there was mud stuck to this milk bucket?
Oh my, well, truth be told, I don't remember whether it was mud exactly. But I do remember cleaning the bucket off when I got home.
It would seem the defense has failed to disprove the witness's claims. Of that we can be quite certain. That'll teach you, Bluey. I got it right. Do me a favor, will you, Gramps? I wanna change me the simile just a tiny bit. I will allow it, only if the witness refrains from name-calling in the future. Except for calling the defendant a witch? I got it, my lord. All this mumbo-jumbo has left me thirstier than a dog in a desert. It's a lot of beer. Oh. I had to stop it. A witch there was holding the stick. I even heard her say the incantation thingy. That's right. I witnessed it all.
Hold it!
But no one knows for sure if Miss Cantabella dropped that milk bucket on the ground. Because there's no mud on it. Is that what you're saying? Well, we went over this already. You know the goat lady wiped off all the mud.
Objection!
However, Miss Mary doesn't clearly remember whether or not it was mud that was stuck on the bucket. Does it matter whether it fell in a mud or a pile of poop?
I really don't remember, but maybe... I guess maybe there was mud on it. I mean, she couldn't hold the scepter without putting the bucket on the ground, so maybe it wasn't her holding the scepter.
Miss Mary, please give a definitive answer.
All done, Bluey. Look all I want, 'cause it ain't gonna help. You see, the five of us, we saw what the witch went and did. We saw it clear as day. Well, if 5 heads are better than 1, then 10 eyeballs are better than 2. And these 10 eyes don't lie. That girl is a witch.
A most peculiar way of phrasing it, witness.
Okay, we done here. We're burning moonlight here, people. Morning's a coming. There ain't a magic spell strong enough that could change what the 5 of us saw tonight.
Are you sure? 'Cause people are clearly getting brainwashed in this town. They may all have their own reasons for accusing a speller, But there's also one thing they all have in common. They genuinely believe Espela is a witch. Were we to disprove that belief, there would be no way for them to regroup. The witnesses would have to acknowledge the truth of what happened tonight. They are, after all, witnesses. They must be fully aware of what actually transpired. That means I've got to pay extra attention to their reactions and testimonies. I think you'd better observe the witnesses, Mr. Wright. You can do it. I've got to try and get the truth out of these witnesses somehow. Oh, wasn't the lantern broken? Nope. Oh, yeah, I heard a man. And a relatively chill man.
Hang on!
Excuse me, mister? Oh, he's rotating. Maybe it's a meditation. Earth to Gramps? Defender, when you say Gramps, might you by any chance be referring to me? No, of course not, Your Honor. Mr. Wordsmith, are you listening? Well, I see that England is rubbing off on Phoenix. With the spelling of words. I heard you quite clearly the first time, young man. These ears here, oh, the crackling of the fire, the whispering of the crowd, and now your voice. If that's the case, then allow me to ask you a question. You were clearly deep in thought just now. Do you have something to say about this man's testimony? Or was he too distracted by his own thoughts? Indeed so. I felt something was amiss. However, what that means, I cannot say. Amiss? Witness, could you tell us? What precisely was amiss with this third-rate testimony from this third-rate witness? What a burn, Barnum! 5 hands are better than 1, then eyeballs are better than 2. Oh. Is Tiamat involved? As I listened to this man's testimony, I could not help but become aware of something most odd. Not when the crime occurred, we all made haste to that terrible scene. The delicious scent of mid-evening dinner permeated through the air. The shadows of those present cast through the dim light. And yet there were but 4 figures standing in that vicinity, myself included, not counting the defendant and the victims. 4? Hold on for 1 second. You're saying that there were only 4 witnesses at the crime scene tonight?
These eyes may be old, but they know what they saw.
Is something the matter, Miss Mary?
No, it's just that Snowy and I are trying to remember what happened at the time.
Oh, and the goat doesn't count?
If he only saw vague figures in the darkness,
then it was... And Snowy was probably overshadowed by her.
I remember the flames erupting into the air. That's when Snowy and I made our mad dash to save the precious milk. And when those two ruffians were set ablaze, the flames filled the area with light. In that sudden flash of light, we could see that there were other people around besides ourselves. And that's when I saw them, the other people that scrambled to the scene along with us. I'm quite sure of it. There were only 4 of us there at the scene of the crime.
Objection!
Hold it, madame. What in blazes is going on? Pun intended. We have 5 witnesses on the stand, all claiming to have witnessed tonight's events firsthand. That means we have 1 witness too many.
Don't be stupid. You would better stop speaking out of turn. All for one and one for all, remember? We all promised to take the switch down together, didn't we? It's not quite this simple. We saw what we saw. Well, I say it's all about the numbers, and I counted, I say.
He's shaped like a rocket.
I'll have you know my counting is flawless. On nights when sleep eludes me, I can count sheep from moonrise to sunrise.
4 witnesses, 5 witnesses, what difference does it make? Well, maybe you were invisible. Things all started getting muddled when you showed up.
You're saying it's my fault? I was there, you fool. I just finished saying that.
My testimony is strong as steel, even if it's not completely stainless.
Order! Order! I said order!
What is going on here? You claim the number of witnesses does not add up? I have never paid witness to such an outrageous conflict. There is but one answer to this puzzle, a single possibility. Oh, what do you mean? Without a doubt, magic must have been used at the scene of the crime. Furthermore, it would indeed appear that there were only 4 witnesses present at the scene. And yet, currently, we are faced with 5 witnesses testifying to the court. It certainly is quite a fatal contradiction, with only one possible answer. Would you not agree, Mr. Wright? The answer, it can't be. Well, out with this supposed answer, Sir Blue Knight. What is your explanation for the current number of witnesses?
One witness.
As usually the culprit. While it might seem far-fetched, the reality is actually quite simple. The real witch, and the real murderer in this case, is actually one of the 5 witnesses.
What?
You're telling us that the witch is amongst this group of witnesses? What utter rubbish! There is no possible way that such a claim could be true.
That's right. Of a lot of nerve accusing one of us of being a witch. Don't worry, I'm not accusing you. We have told you nothing but the truth, yet you still have the gall to bat around such an outrageous accusation. Behold, behold, as my trusty shield deflects your petty words like the petty words that they are. Inquisitor Barnum? Yes, my lord. I would like to see a sketch of the crime scene at the time of the incident. Do you have one in your possession? Yes, certainly, my lord. I have one here. I requested it from the court illustrator, just in case. Very well. Witnesses, I would like each of you to mark your location at the time of the murder. Here on this crime scene sketch. Quickly now. The number of witnesses doesn't add up. It looks like we're getting somewhere now, but we haven't even scratched the surface of this case yet. And it's all thanks to this top-hat-wearing gentleman. The court accepts this crime scene sketch into evidence. If one of the witnesses is the witch, that could only mean one thing. Somebody here isn't telling the truth. That would indeed appear to be the case, Mr. Wright. Listen well, Sir Blue Knight. The path you tread now is a dangerous one. Claiming that a witch is among these most honorable witnesses is a serious accusation. Should it prove to be a false one, you will find yourself at the other end of my sword. Do I make myself clear? But that wasn't so much my suggestion. I mean, the gentleman here with the lovely top hat was the one who urged me to say it. It is the same thing, Sir Blue Knight. Indeed, it is the same thing, Sir Baker. It is the same thing, Mr. Wright. Oh boy. Now, ready your sword. Ready. Were you listening? You claim the witch is not the accused, and that someone else at the crime scene was the true culprit. If what you say is true, surely you can tell the court exactly where this person was at the time of the crime. Can you not? Come now, Sir Blue Knight. Only you can enlighten us as to who this real witch actually is. Sir Dowie Defender, show us where the witch was at the exact moment the murder took place. Well, where would she be? The real witch was probably this person right here, I think. Probably this person, I think. So bad is offender stuff, it makes me wanna drink. Doesn't everything make you wanna drink? If I may, Mr. Layton, I mean Mr. Wright, remember that if one of these witnesses is indeed the witch, then there is a high possibility that particular witness is not telling the truth. Do bear that in mind. So the witch must be lying, huh? If that's the case, that must mean a certain person wasn't where they claimed they were. That's when the witch must have cast Ignace, right? Take a look in the Grand Grimoire. We're bound to find something in there. Even if the witness is lying up a storm,
Whatever is inside this grand grimoire has to be the truth, right? Sir Doy Defender, do not waste the court's time with any more such ridiculous answers. Darn it! Sir Doy Defender. Check the grimoire. Within a 1 meter radius of the caster. Do we have a scale for that map? Also, that's a very short range. For a very powerful spell. The witch was standing probably somewhere around here. Somewhere around there? Ah, damn it. Near the two youths? Are they really that... I mean... I still don't know the scale of the map. Was she standing right next to the two guys? The witch must have been standing here. Oh, what is the meaning of this? Unfortunately for you, that spot has absolutely nothing to do with any of these witnesses. But it has something to do with the spell range. Inquisitor Barnum, I suggest you try taking a look at this. The Grand Grimoire. According to the stone, Ignace summons a circle of flame within a 1 meter radius of the caster. In other words, the witch had to have been within 1 meter of the flame when casting the spell. Of course, you needn't say any more, Sir Blue Knight. First off, notice that there is no one else in that area other than the accused. It should also be quite obvious from the sketch that there is clearly nowhere for anyone to hide. True, there aren't any hiding spots. However, there is one other possibility if a witch wanted to stay hidden from sight. Most intriguing. Since you seem to love showing evidence, prove it. How was the witch able to hide in plain sight? This Stella Magica contains 2 magic gems. Ignace and 1 other spell. That's right, the spell Demir. Demir? Ah, it cannot be. That's right. There was most certainly a witch present at the crime scene. Only, they were completely invisible. All thanks to the magic spell Demir. What foolishness is this? Order! Order in the court! Defender, what are you getting at? I thought the witch used Demir to make the Tala Magica disappear. I'm getting my voices mixed up. According to the Grand Grimoire, under the entry for Demir, it causes anything the caster touches to vanish from sight. In other words, supposing the witch were holding the stuff in one hand, while touching part of their body with the other, they would be able to make themselves disappear. Are you implying that is the reason for the conflicting number of witnesses? Indeed it is, which means, witnesses, someone amongst you is not disclosing the entire truth, and that person is the witch we seek. I believe this is the most probable scenario. Honorable witnesses, you will testify to the court one final time. Tell us exactly what you saw and what you did not see at the scene of the crime. How absurdly absurd! The purpose of this trial is to convict that girl of the crime, is it not? That's right. We are not witches. Witnesses, I ask that you listen. There is a witch mingling among you. That's right. I'm afraid you are all no longer brothers in arms. The true opponent here is within your own group. The real witch is one of those 5 witnesses, huh? Fine by me. Time to put an end to this trial. You wish to know where we all were standing tonight? It matters not. Would the flames not burn just the same? That flame! I never saw anything like this. It quite literally left me speechless. I couldn't even so much as scream. I heard the tiniest cry, and then when I turned around, the bladders were roasting. So I rushed right over. I heard the incantation, then flames suddenly erupted. I'm certain of it. I only saw 3 people there with us. As I said, there were only 3 others present. Like that man there who was stumbling around like a newborn calf. A most heinous act indeed. No small wonder these witnesses are so confused. A witch amongst the witnesses? What an utterly baseless claim. I don't think so, Barnum. The only baseless claim in this case is of Espella being a witch. It's more than a little likely one of these witnesses is the culprit. These testimonies are bound to tell me who the real witch is. In other words, you're not sure exactly what happened tonight, is that right? Defender, I fought with burning vigor this night. Do not belittle my efforts. Right. And I does not just run away at the mere sight of fire. Ah! No one even said anything about running away. If I may be perfectly straight with you, the pillar of fire illuminated the area as it rose high into the air. There, by the fire, was the witch, and excluding the 2 unfortunate knaves, I counted 3 others at the scene. Was that killer?
Hang on!
Excuse me, Miss Killa. What do you want? You looked like you had something to say about the testimony just now. Well, it was about the number of people at the crime scene. Have you ever played the Daisy Petal game? Daisy Petal game? doesn't really help as a relationship advice. One witness, two witnesses, three witnesses, four witnesses, five witnesses, six witnesses. What an adorable game. It seems like something out of a fairy tale. This whole town sounds like something out of a fairy tale. Seriously, Your Honor? Anyway, you may continue your testimony, witness. That flame. I gotta check again whose voice that was. I mean, it probably was Kira. Nothing. Doesn't look like she has anything to say. The goat sure does though. It must have been pretty terrifying, huh? Yes, it's the kind of thing you only read about in books. The moment that pillar of fire erupted, I could feel my throat tightening up. It was so difficult to breathe, I couldn't even manage so much as a scream. Oh, you were... Oh, you're not talking about smoke, are you? You might be talking about smoke. Quite. After all, the flames engulfed the scene in the blink of an eye. Yes, I'm sorry. That's why I can't really remember. So you can't remember the number of people at the crime scene? Naturally, that is understandable, witness. That's also why I was a little late getting to the scene compared to the others. But you saw the flames happen. I heard the tiniest cry. The tiniest cry? There might have been someone saying the incantation for a spell. My memory's kinda hazy on that one. Scared me good though. Never jumped up to my feet so fast in all my life. Nearly had a heart attack, I tell ya. Jumped up? Right. It was still raining cats and dogs, so being the resourceful chap, I decided to doze under a tree for a bit. So you slept under a tree in the rain. Why am I not surprised? Anyway, I tried to put out a fire by chucking some of my drink at it. Amazingly, it didn't do much good though. Right. They ended up roasted, huh? Turns out magic won't let fat, alright. This guy is unbelievable. Who was that? I think it was Killer. Oh no. I wasn't sure whether that voice was a man or a woman because I was kinda talking alright, but that's a man. Is everything alright, Mr. Wordsmith? What is it you want this time, young one? I just wanted to know if you had any thoughts on the testimony just now. Yes, thoughts about slumbering under trees, you mean? Slumbering? I often find myself weaving the most intricate of dreams under that very tree.
Of course I could not nap tonight, not with that uncouth man usurping my special dreaming spot, could I?
Are you using this cross-examination to argue over a napping spot? Let us hope such arguments do not lead to any criminal acts in the future. Witness, please continue your testimony.
Hold it!
Are you absolutely certain?
Well, I believe so, but then when you think about it, can anyone really be absolutely certain of anything?
It worries me that you're saying that in the middle of a cross-examination. I believe the witness means that there is no way she can be certain whether there were 4 witnesses or 5 at the crime scene.
Anyhow, there was a matter of great importance that Snowy and I had to tend to.
Stealing the milk? Ah, you must mean...
That's right, the milk. If any soot had got into the milk, it would be the tragedy to end all tragedies.
I see. No use crying over spoiled milk, I say.
As I was saying, I ran as fast as I could to get the girl away from the flames. Then I took the milk bucket from her and wrapped it up in my scarf.
It doesn't look like there's anything out of place in her testimony. Except for maybe her priorities.
Hold it!
This guy looks like he's thinking. Oh, he's so deep in thought that he's spilling beer everywhere.
Hang on!
Could I stop you there, mister? Mister!
Turn down the volume, Bluey!
It's my line. Does anything come to mind regarding Miss Mary's testimony?
Nope, not really. Nothing important anyways. Just that I think this old lady is full of it. I'm talking about the milkman. Milk. I know the second you try to stuff it and nothing to write home about, let me tell you. What are you saying, you dolt? Who on earth would let you drink anything as delicious as the milk from my farm? A ruffian like you is better served by whatever unthinkable liquid is in that never-ending mug of yours.
Lampshading? Never-ending bottle as well. Are you guys using this cross-examination to argue over milk? Let us hope such arguments do not lead to any criminal acts in the future.
Hold it!
So including yourself, there were a total of 4 witnesses at the crime scene, correct?
That is how it has come to pass.
By the way, what do you mean by stumbling around like a newborn calf? He was drunk and asleep.
Ah, yes, that was a man as inebriated as he was loud. Quite a humorous sight it was, I dare say.
He must mean the witness permanently glued to his cup of whatever it is he's drinking.
When I saw the flames rise up into the sky, I wondered to myself, my word, whatever could it be? However, I could not simply walk over to check. My knees were a bit weak from shock, you see. That's when the wobbly-legged gentleman came running over. I think the is a hen.
Hang on!
Is something the matter, mister? Mister!
Tom.
Yeah. Looks like this guy even managed to scare Barnum half to death. Now then, sir, about Mr. Wordsmith's testimony just now. He claimed you were stumbling around. What does he mean by that?
I'm gonna set the record straight right now. I always was a stumbling around anywhere. I'd like to think of it more like staggering with style. A responsible adult should know better than to go stumbling around in the dead of night. Look, I don't just go stumbling around like some clumsy idiot. I got more sense than that. But anyway, I kinda tripped over a large stone. I mean, you don't exactly see what's on the ground in front of you when you're running at full pelt, right? Especially on a rainy night. So you could say it put me laugh out on the line, proving that you really need to watch where you're going when you run.
How courageous of you. Someone give this guy a medal. My lord, this testimony is a meaningless waste of everyone's time. Well, defender, is there a point to this particular line of questioning? Is there anything worth pursuing here? What should I do?
I'm not sure.
The witness stated earlier that he tripped over a large stone. Mister, I have one question for you. Why weren't you watching what was in front of you?
Well, to be honest with you, ain't much of a real reason, but something suddenly caught my attention. Out of nowhere I sorta heard someone call out my name.
What even is your name? Is your name some guy? You heard your name?
Course I turned around when I heard it. What a woman calls her name. Pay attention, am I right? Is your name Ignatius?
So, you heard someone call out, "Hey you," from behind, you mean?
Yeah, maybe. What I said, they called me name. How many guys do you know called Hey you? No, guys named guys, that's a thing. My name is Amir. And don't you forget it, Bluey. And hear me?
I must say the gentleman really does not strike me as an emir. You know, Professor, it's not a very memorable name, huh? That's harsh. Honorable witnesses, is there anyone among you who was aware of this man's name prior to now?
Not at all. He's always just been Mister to me.
A knight's name is only as good as the name of the sword he carries. So is that you?
It is the first I have heard of this. I dare say I did not expect his name to be one such as Emir. He doesn't even look like a Muslim noble. Wait, do we have Muslims in this world? Probably not.
I'm sorry, but I didn't know his name either. I only remember the names of my most loyal customers. Okay, It looks like absolutely no one knew this witness's name.
And well, it isn't really much of a surprise to me either. And seriously? I definitely heard someone call my name. And you get to be me age. I really start to wonder when you'll find the true love, you know. I thought that pretty voice tonight might be my sweetie.
Do you think it was a woman your age then, or are you trying to get a younger girlfriend? Your Honor, I don't believe we should be so quick to label Mr. Amir's testimony meaningless. Would you not agree? I request that the witness add this amusing anecdote to his testimony. Understood. Witness, amend your testimony, but please reflect only the important points of your story.
I'll tell him, yeah. I heard someone call my name. I was looking around trying to find them.
Oh, from behind. Wait, no. I didn't want that. Wrong button, I'm getting my buttons mixed up. What do I do? I just keep pressing. Excuse me, Amir.
I don't sweat it, Blue, Mr. You. It's all the same to me.
You stated that you heard your name being called from behind. Are you absolutely sure about that? He ran into a less suspicious position.
Well, right or wrong, it's good. Sure sounded like my name. I mean, what else could it been? I wouldn't have remembered it happening if I hadn't heard something, right? Still, maybe there's a chance I just imagine it, huh? Anyway, I remember it came from somewhere behind me.
From somewhere behind you? Is something the matter, Mr. Wright? Mr. Amir's testimony isn't the most accurate, but if what he says is true, then there's definitely something there. Something, you say? Might you mean a contradiction? Yeah, I think so, although I don't know. There's just something strange about his testimony. I don't see any decisive evidence in the court record that can help. What, do we just present Kira? Do you mean to say you found a contradiction that cannot be supported by the evidence?
Objection.
My lord, this line of interrogation is a complete waste of the court's time. Defender, I must warn you, from here on, any unnecessary questioning will be dealt with accordingly. If I don't answer correctly here, it's curtains for the trial and for a spell. If you are intent on finding a fault in this witness's testimony, you will need to present decisive evidence to back up your claims. There's not one single piece of decisive evidence in the court record. What do I do now, Mr. Wright? Mr. Layton, I have an idea. I believe there is a weapon of sorts with which you may be able to expose this contradiction without the need of evidence. A weapon? Now, Defender, give us your answer. Yes, Your Honor. The defense finds that the witness's testimony What do we say? You were implying there's a contradiction. Your Honor, the defense believes there is a contradiction, huge contradiction in the witness's testimony.
Objection!
What is this? You must be an even bigger fool than I thought, Sir Blue Knight. You really do not possess even a sliver of common sense, do you?
Objection!
If I may interrupt for just a moment, Inquisitor Barnum, allow me to ask you this. What need is there for common sense in a world that forgoes using it? Accordingly, I must humbly ask that you discard such a manner of thinking. Whatever do you mean? You have my utmost thanks for placing your trust in me, Mr. Wright. Let us discuss the one remaining weapon in this cross-examination. The remaining weapon? This trial has taught us a valuable new technique to be used in the courtroom, has it not? You mean questioning, right, Professor? Indeed it is, look. Each of the witnesses in this trial has given their own account of what occurred. Therefore, whenever one witness has testified, the other remaining witnesses have listened. That gives me an idea. In addition to catching a witness off guard and questioning them about another's testimony, there is one more thing. There's something else we can get from a 5-person cross-examination? That's right, of course. Indeed, Mr. Wright, contradictions. Should one witness's testimony differ from another's testimony, then I suppose that in itself can also be considered a contradiction, can it not? Testimony contradicting testimony. I never would have thought of that until now. Enough! Sir Blue Knight, are you prepared to present to the court evidence proving the contradiction within this witness's testimony? The witness's testimony does not contradict any evidence. It contradicts a testimony. What are you talking about? It is time, Mr. Wright. Have a look at the touchscreen. Alright, let's give this another shot, Nick. And make sure you don't forget to take a look at the court record too. You heard the incantation. Nothing else. A woman's voice said something. It could be the other woman. It matters where you were standing.
Objection!
Damn it, this is wrong. Please, just a moment, Mr. Wright. Perhaps. Yeah. Damn it. I'll have to start over, I suppose. Oh. You are behind him.
Objection!
Double objection! The person contradicting this man's testimony is none other than you, Miss Kira. Are you both pointing at me? At the time of the incident, that man heard someone's voice call his name. That voice belonged to you, Miss Kira. It could not have been anyone else. And yet, in your testimony, you stated that you were in such shock during tonight's events that you couldn't even speak. This is a clear contradiction.
Objection!
What? What is the meaning of this, defender? Can you really claim to trust this sham of a witness and his sham of a testimony?
Objection!
That man's character is beside the point. His testimony is anything but a sham. It's just a mistake. As he watched the flames erupt, his attention was drawn to a voice behind him, which in turn made him fall over. He heard a woman's voice calling his name. A very concrete reason, and reason enough to believe his testimony.
Objection!
If it is as you say, then explain why you feel this witness is somehow responsible. That's right. Why me? People barely hear me when I'm out selling my flowers. That's how soft my voice is. And besides, there was another woman at the scene, wasn't there? Me? Well, what are you getting at, young lady? Do you honestly think a woman my age would be out late at night in the forest, flirting with questionable men? Besides, I didn't even know this pathetic man's name. How could I have called out to him? Neither did I, and even if I did know his name, do you really think he's the kind of guy any self-respecting girl would want? Come on, ladies. I'm standing right here, you know. As I was saying, the only person that guy could have heard from behind him was you, Miss Kira. The defense wishes to present evidence to prove this claim. The map? To accuse a witness like this young lady here? Why, this is simply unheard of. I must warn you, defender, if you cannot prove your accusation to this court, you will see the underside of my gavel. Show us the evidence proving this young lady was the one who called out to this man at the time of the crime. The map.
Take that!
Take a look at this. Nope. Oh yeah, this is correct. The music didn't stop, so I was thrown off. This is the crime scene sketch. You can see the position of each witness during the crime. The only person that he could have possibly heard from behind him was none other than Miss Kira.
Objection!
Kira is the killer, like in Death Note. Listen here, Sir Blue Knight. I will only tell you this one more time. A sham of a witness yields only a sham of a testimony. That is all there is to it. Did you in fact see this flower girl's face? I could have after she called your name. And now that you mention it, seeing as I've fallen over and all, I don't think I saw her face. Okay, but you heard her voice, right? Let me think. Her voice came out of nowhere. It was kinda high-pitched.
And I guess it kinda sounded like her, but I can't say whether or not it was this girl's voice.
And there you have it, Sir Blue Knight. Such a pity. Huh? My lord, it is clear that the defense's claim is nothing but a pointless waste of the court's time. I recommend you deliver unto them a penalty befitting such behavior. Every time you wind up a punch, it looks like you're winding up a slash. Great slash. Indeed, Inquisitor. Ready yourself, Defender.
What is that laughter? I might have given him the Barnum voice in the previous line.
Pardon me, my lord. It looks like you finally arrived at a decision. That means this has nothing to do with me. Isn't that right, Inquisitor Barnum?
What are you saying?
I'm saying that it's time for me to stop peddling testimony and get back to peddling flowers. I mean, look at all of these flowers left over. It's going to take until sunrise to sell them if I stay here any longer. Or maybe, my lord, you and the rest of the court would be interested in buying my entire stock of flowers to help a girl out?
Oh no, I don't think,
Then it's settled now. If you'll excuse me, my apologies for the interruption.
Understood. The court will dismiss the witness. Hold it! Well, Miss Kira, it would seem you are beginning to show the court your true colors.
Oh, whatever do you mean? Okay then, everyone. It looks like that's that.
Hold it!
Wait, you can't leave yet. This cross-examination isn't over.
Now that's funny. You say it isn't over and yet the rest of the court seems to think otherwise. Isn't that right, Inquisitor Barnum?
The Inquisition maintains that the real witch is the accused, Espella Cantabella. This girl is nothing more than a witness. As such, the court cannot force her to stay against her will. This is bad. If they let her walk out now...
Nick, do you think she could be
the real witch?
You really think throwing around accusations? You really like throwing around accusations, don't you, Sir Defender? Let me spell it out for you one last time so even you understand. I didn't know this man's name at all before today. I still don't remember it. So how could I have called out to him? Do you get it now? Now then, until we meet again, don't forget to buy some flowers on your way home, everyone.
Hold it!
One moment, please, Miss Kira.
Is there something else you wanted?
You don't seem to realize what you just let slip.
What are you talking about?
This man testified that he heard his name called at the crime scene. However, you had no knowledge of his name at the time. Is that correct?
That's right. This weirdo is just imagining things. Like I said, I've already forgotten his name, even though he told it to us earlier.
There is just one problem, Miss Kira. Namely, what the voice he heard tonight was actually saying.
Hmm?
What do you mean? It It's obvious it was a name, wasn't it? Now, what was the name again? My lord, I'm still here now.
You're saying that what this man heard tonight wasn't a name, but rather something else entirely? Indeed I am, Inquisitor Barnum. Something else. Aha! There's only one other thing it could be. It's a stretch, but the possibility is there. That's right, Mr. Wright. That single possibility is the key to solving this mystery. Is the defense ready to present its evidence to the court?
This is ridiculous. I demand you let me go this instant.
Witness, what you are being accused of is not to be taken lightly. You will not leave this courtroom so long as any reasonable doubt remains. Defender, you may present your evidence. Show the court what the voice this man heard tonight was really saying.
Take that!
Excuse me, mister. I'm sorry, what's your name again? You've, got a name that no one seems to be able to remember for some reason.
It's Amir. My name's Amir, damn it. How many times have I gotta say it? No matter the number of times you say it, you do not look like an Amir. Again, I only remember my most loyal customer's name, and he doesn't look like he could afford even a single daisy. Come on, guys. Stop kicking a guy when he's done.
Mr. Amir, what you heard tonight at the crime scene was not your name. Your name just so happens to sound exactly like a certain other name. Another name? The answer is right here in this stone. I'm talking about Amir.
Amir?
What he actually heard at the time wasn't his own name. It was the name of a magical incantation.
Oh, what?
What the? Miss Gilla, have you forgotten what you said just a few minutes ago? You'd quite clearly stated that you didn't know this man's name. Sir Blue Knight, let me get this straight. You're saying that the Amir heard by the witness was actually said by this flower girl? And that it was not his name at all, but rather the incantation of a magic spell? The defense proposes the following. The true criminal, this supposed witch, is not the defendant, Miss Espela Cantabella, but instead the witness who was heard uttering this magic incantation, Miss Kira. She's our witch, who used magic to vanish from the scene and tried to frame Miss Cantabella instead.
No! What just happened? Is that girl, is Espela really not a witch? Unbelievable. I've never heard anything like this. Inquisitor Barnum. Have those two really defeated Inquisitor Barnum?
Objection!
An impressive display, Sir Blue Knight. It would seem you have finally managed to hone your blade. However, I believe that blade's edge is already beginning to dull. What do you mean? I am referring to a contradiction, naturally. Hey, that's my line. My lord, Inquisition would like to set the record straight regarding what transpired this evening. I have to prove that she moved. Very well, Inquisitor Barnum. Sir Blue Knight will claim the following. At the time of the crime, the accused, Espella Cantabella, was surrounded by 2 rogues. Then, in order to frame the accused as a witch, Miss Kira cast the spell Ymir and made herself vanish. She then moved in closer to the victims, at which point she cast Ignace, thus causing the incident seen by our witnesses tonight. Indeed, that does seem to be the claim. The problem is what happened next. There is a contradiction in the defense's account of Miss Kira's movements. A contradiction in her movements. Allow me to continue. The witnesses have stated that they each ventured out towards the crime scene. I think she would have hit him, which is when Miss Kira, the witch, made her way to this point, while still invisible. When she arrived at said spot, she then cast a meal and reappeared to join the other witnesses. And there you have it. That is accurate, isn't it, Sir Blue Knight? That's correct. Then Mr. Emir heard her call his name. Well then, I have but one question that I would like you to answer. Why would a witch need to do such a thing? To remove herself from suspicion. What do you mean? Supposing Miss Kira were a witch, surely she would not have made the conscious decision to reappear when she did. One would imagine she would remain hidden and flee the crime scene.
Quite right. That's what I'd do if I was a witch.
Given that point, there would be no viable reason for her to recite the incantation. In other words, it is inconceivable that this flower seller Miss Kira could be a witch.
What? What just happened? Is that girl, Miss Kira, really not a witch? Inquisitor Barnum just turned this entire trial right around. Just what I'd expect from Labyrinthia's Sword of Justice.
That's right! You all heard it! It's just as Inquisitor Barnum said! Me, a witch! The idea is laughable!
Not good. She's completely bounced back on her feet. Oh, we were so close too. I can't believe Inquisitor Barnum. Can't he see it? You just have to take one good look at her. It's obvious she's the real witch here. Remember, Mr. Wright, at times like this, a cool head will prevail. Mr. Layton, I'm sure you have had to fight your way out of circumstances such as these many times before. The situation is no different. As a defense attorney, what would you usually do at such a time? What would I usually do? Of course, there's only one thing that can get me out of a situation like this. I've got to flip this case on its head and think outside the box. It would seem the defense has nothing further to add. Why, of course. That's because everyone knows the truth. They know that the girl right there is the real witch. That settles it then. Go ahead and deliver your verdict, my lord.
Objection!
The situation is exactly as you described, Inquisitor Barnum. It really doesn't make much sense for the witch to have used a mirror. Is it related to her glasses? Regardless, the defense still maintains that Miss Kira did utter that incantation and make herself reappear. Now the question is, for what reason? If she really didn't have to use this spell, then why use it in the first place? If I can find the answer to that question, then this entire case will start to unravel. Most fascinating. Very well. Most fascinating. Very well. Allow us to hear this theory of yours. Tell the court why it was necessary for the witch to appear at the crime scene. Well, you're still in the game. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The reason Miss Killa reappeared at the scene of the crime was... Look, she was somewhere else, right? The answer is obvious. She must have wanted to become a witness herself.
Objection!
Nope. We already have 4 other willing witnesses. Becoming a witness on purpose would accomplish nothing. She may as well have sat in the stands and watched the trial. Well, you don't know that for sure. Nope, he's right. Everyone's a telepath here. Oh no. Dead. Wait, I've been going for 2 hours. Yeah, this trial, every time I think it's about to end, it keeps going. But I think it's time to stop. See you next time.